Hello, hello, hello! How's it going, guys? How's it going? It's your cyber hacker over here, and welcome to the stream. I hope you're all doing well. Today, we are doing something drastically different in comparison to what I've been doing, which has mainly just been gaming. Still a little bit of hint of gaming, but it's not going to be the main focus. Because while Final Fantasy XIV is going to be a reference that we use, and I have the game booted up and ready for us to rewatch some of the older cutscenes as well, so we can kind of get refreshers and stuff like that. Today, we're going to be writing out, or at least starting to write out, the backstory and journey of my character, Vail, from Final Fantasy XIV. This is something completely different. Don't know how this will work. This might be a one-time thing, and then we don't come back to it ever again, and I just keep it for myself. But I want to try this out, and that's also why we're in this category, writing and reading, because I actually didn't know that this was a category that existed. And when I went into it, it was practically effing barren. So at least we're going to try and use it today. At least when I went into it, there might be a lot more people that do it. But yeah, so writing is going to be our main thing. But other than that, I hope you're all doing well. Apologies for the slight delay. I was just getting some last minute stuff typed up and stuff like that as well. So we have like a bit of a list to go through. We're not going to get through it all today. We've got a lot to cover because Final Fantasy XIV is such a massive game. But I can show you the cliff notes or however you say it of what we have planned. So let me quickly boot this up. Just like swap over here. Now you guys can let me know. I don't have a dark mode, unfortunately. I would use a dark mode if I could, but I can't. But yeah, this is a very brief little thing that I just put up. That is every single expansion and post-expansion, and hell, we've even got before our expansion and stuff like that as well. So this should be fun. I'm looking forward to doing this. I have little bits of I have bits and pieces of ideas. So what I want to do is let me just turn on the volume a little bit more on the music. It's still a little, just a tiny bit loud. The plan is I'm going to put in bits and pieces of information I already had in my head for the character. And then what we will do is we will go expansion by expansion for however long. We won't watch every cutscene because that will take us another couple 100 hours. We won't be doing that. But we will be looking specifically for more integral moments that involve the character. And the way we are doing it specifically is, I know people do their OCs, their Warrior of Lights, far differently from each other. Everyone has like their own view of like, oh, this is how mine is portrayed, this is how mine is portrayed. What I notice in a lot of cases is whenever they make a character for like roleplay and stuff like that in Final Fantasy XIV, they don't have their character being the Warrior of Light itself, because, well, that breaks continuity if everyone's a Warrior of Light. If everyone's super, no one is, type of deal. So the way we're going to come at this specific exercise is we are going to be following the story. Our character will be a part of the Scions, but I'm debating on whether or not he'll be like this all-powerful godly being, which will get trickier and trickier when we get to the later expansions. But I feel like for A Realm Reborn, Heavensward, and Stormblood, it might be relatively okay. Shadowbringers onwards is where it's going to get tricky, because you basically become a dimensional hopping badass from that point on. And that even goes as far as Dawntrail. Why I don't have post Dawntrail down here, for instance, since we don't have all of the post Dawntrail MSQ out at the moment, we only have 7.2, or up as far as 7.2, I did not include post expansion for this one just yet. But also, these are mainly for the story points. We have yet to even get into like the characters backstory itself. So like, or that's pre A Realm Reborn, but like we still got like, so like we got race, subrace, because those are options in the chat. Also, there might be a bit of dissonance when we boot up the game. I have the game booted up. I'll show you guys in a sec, but there might be a slight bit of dissonance, but it's not that bad. Subrace, so place of origin. Like, I still gotta get like all of this stuff set out. For personality wise, I feel like I already kind of had him relatively solid. But after that, when it comes to the finer details, that's when I kind of lose myself and get lost in the sauce a bit. So we're gonna just... God, if my phone would lock. Okay, I guess it's not gonna lock. There we go. Got a new phone yesterday. I'm still working out the kinks, but yeah. Okay, so yeah, place of origin. We still have to kind of figure out... I need to look at the Eorzean map again, because it got like... It gets updated like every expansion now at this point. Ever since Endwalker. I'm not going to put an age down. He is an adult. That is pretty much obvious. I don't think I need to go into too much detail about that. I suppose, yeah, gender. So I'm just trying to think. Yeah, we'll leave it there for now. But yeah, you see what I mean? We've got so much to go through in terms of the character itself that I'd like to do out. Now, we mightn't do all of these expansions. Like, a lot of these expansions could be like, very similar to how the MSQ played out, like without Vail. Like, there might be like, we're not going to be changing everything to fit the character. We're just going to be making like minor tweaks and such. Like the vault in Heaven's Ward, maybe things played out differently in my version of the lore rather than how they played out in the game. A good example is when I was watching Shenpai and Vulpixie's stream when they did the vault. I think they have a shared document for their character story, which is very fucking interesting. I could be wrong, but judging from what they've said, it's like, oh, that sounds like they have like a joint doc, because they put stuff into the document and stuff like that as well, and that's really cool. So that's kind of like what inspired me to like do this whole thing as well. So yeah, what do we got then? Yeah, basically Vulpixie goes through the vault as normal, but Shenpai's character Voxer doesn't do the vault because Vulpixie and Voxer had a fight beforehand, and if you've seen the vault, you know what happens. We'll be watching that cutscene about. We're probably gonna end up watching that cutscene back again today. I'm going to do my best to try and keep an order to things, so I don't want to go jumping from expansion to expansion looking at different cutscenes and stuff. I want to try and keep it as concise as possible, at least for today. Today is kind of more of a test run. If this doesn't work out as well as I had hoped, I'll put it on the back burner. I'll just keep it to myself. We'll figure it out. But right now, let's get some of these more easier details out of the way. So my boy is a Viera. Oh, I forgot to put his name. I forgot to put his name down. I forgot to put his full name. Vail. Oh, yeah. Vail. I guess. This. Yeah, that's his name. Because one thing I was like looking over was the lore of the race itself, so the Vieras themselves, and I'm very aware that they're like a matriarchal society mainly, and like the males are basically protectors of the forest, but they don't stay in villages with the females and stuff like that as well. So like that would kind of be the catalyst of my character being like, hey, I'm tired of being a protector of the forest. While the dude is good, I want to make a name for myself. So I was actually debating giving him a birth name, because Viera are given, or I think they choose a different name when they go and like mingle with like the rest of civilization pretty much. So I'm going to keep it as Vail for now. If I do decide to give him a proper birth name, I will add that to the doc, and we'll go from there. So subrace, the Vina, because the Rava are the more, I guess, typical, I guess, jungle. They're like more in like rainforests and stuff like that. Like they're more, and then like the Vina are more like in mountainous, snowy regions. So that's the version that I picked. Place of origin, that has still yet to be fixed up. Gender, male. Gender is male. I've always been Male Vieira since the very beginning of my journey with Final Fantasy 14, and just for, you know, people get upset with the sheer mention of pronouns, but just to kind of cover my bases so people are aware. Okay, that is the bare bones basic stuff. If I think, yeah, I did say I was going to look up like a full Eorzea map. Eorzea map. Not Eorzea map, full Aetherius. If I'm spelling that correctly, I'm probably spelling that wrong. FF14. Full Aetherius map. Oh, I spelled it wrong. But hang on. Oh, it's I there. And then, no, crap, I swapped that around. God, spelling on some of these fictional worlds. Swap that and swap that. Map of Hydaelyn / Aetherius with unknown locations. Yeah, it's like a massive, it's massive now, because I think, was Tyrol added? I'll show this map now in a sec. I'm just going to try and find a good, I want to try and find a good picture of it. Yeah, okay, this one has like Tyrol in it. Okay. Yeah, this is going to be strange. So like, if I go to window capture, pull it out. Here, swap the window over. Tumblr. Yeah, it's going to be weird swapping that. Could I get a subscription to Final Fantasy through the website and then play it on my console? You should be, as long as you should be able to, I think, as long as you have, like, I think you have to pick your console. So yeah, other than that. But welcome to the stream. We're just kind of getting started. We're kind of just talking about stuff at the moment. We haven't got neck deep into the character lore yet. We're going bit by bit. So yeah, this is the full map of the region. So now naturally we have like, I'm like thinking we're a more snowy region. So like we have all of like Tyrol here, which is mainly a more tropical region. We've got like all down here. We have like Eorzea. We have our usual spots. We have Othard with Doma and Alamigo. Or nah, Alamigo's already here. I have to like, I keep forgetting where some of these places are. So the Northern Empty, where Charlian is. Charlian's right there. So we got a whole map, and I'm like, I think I'll hold off on Place of Origin for the moment, because just how, look, we have to account for this, all of this, and you know what's mad? It could easily change. It could easily change when a new expansion comes out, and we get, like, a new region, and it's like, oh, it's a mainly snowy region. I don't want to put my character's region, Place of Origin, I should say, as Garlemald, because so much, or like this whole, like Ilsebard here, this whole area here is just ripe for constant conflict. But we're going to focus on currently like what's happening with the character more than anything else. So let me swap back to the dock here. Yeah, I'm going to have to get used to doing that, but yeah. So for now, I think we'll just leave that blank and then go from here. Do you mean the world map? Because I'd love to see the Final Fantasy world map. Question, what is your character like? Why do you see adventuring? Because that might very well help you. I already kind of had that in mind. So let me get quickly. We're going to, what the plan is today, Vanguard, is I have little details in my head already that I'm going to put in. So like I have this whole list here. So we have like pretty much before Realm Reborn. This does not count 1.0 because I've never played 1.0. And then every expansion past this point. We will be going through. We won't be changing everything. We won't be doing everything. We're not going to finish this, like, we're not going to finish this if I go in as deep as I normally would. We're not going to finish it today. But my plan is I would like to get around Stormblood and post-Stormblood done. No, you know what? Because like I said, post-Stormblood and Shadowbringers kind of goes off the rails. I'd need to, like, do more research. Like, more prior research. But I'm comfortable in going through A Realm Reborn, or doing like pre-A Realm Reborn, like A Realm Reborn, and then up as far as like base Stormblood, because it's all like, it's still relatively grounded. Post Stormblood onwards goes off the rails entirely. We got interdimensional travel, we've got like dimension hopping stuff, we got so much in terms of what happens from post Stormblood onwards, because a lot does happen. And Actually, hang on, let me just character lore, following the story, because I know people make entire things where they don't actually have their character follow the story for like roleplay purposes and stuff like that. But for the sake of this doc, we're going to do it in tandem with what we've experienced throughout the game, or at least what I've experienced, because y'all have only ever seen maybe my Endwalker playthrough and my post Dawn Trail stuff. So this is going to be a refresher for me as much as it's going to be introducing Final Fantasy to y'all. So I hope you don't mind spoilers, because this stream is going to be chock full of them from every expansion up as far as at least Stormblood. But beware, I will actually, you know what, there will be spoilers for everything, because I plan on talking about everything, or at least touching on little bits of plot and stuff like that as well. Hold on, before you say anything, I'm going to put you on the TV. No problem. I haven't progressed. I haven't really thought much anyway. So I'm just still looking around here. I have the game booted up. It's just currently on mute at the moment because we will be using it to watch cutscenes and stuff. Let me just make sure. Right, okay, we're good. Okay, awesome. So I think that kind of covers this question. What is your lifestyle? Is it nomadic? Do you live in nobility, peasantry, in the wilderness, in a large city? Right, we can start then, because that's the thing. It's not as deep. Like I said, we're following the story for the most part. Once we do A Realm Reborn, we're going to be rewatching some cutscenes for different events that happen, and we'll be deciding if our character was actually there to participate in said events in terms of like all the Scion stuff and all that. And like I said, post Stormblood to Shadowbringers onwards is going to be completely off the rails. I'll have to figure that out. However, pre-Realm Reborn, which does not include 1.0 because I've never played it, basically we're kind of going off. Yeah, so hang on, Vail. We kind of have an idea. Basically, he was working in the forest to protect the village he was born in because they're a matriarchal society. He got tired of like the way he was living. He didn't feel it fulfilling, and thus went off to make his own fortune type of deal. I'm talking about pre-story. Yeah, so like I already kind of have like a slight thing. Vail. So like he was like a protector of the village, of his village, like most male Viera are, because they don't live in the villages along with the females, because the females are more of it's a matriarchal society pretty much. So he'd basically just be like, basically I was trying to come up with a comparison, and I was trying to think of like the best comparison I could think of was like, oh, maybe the Skiotel from The Witcher. But at the same time, I don't think that's a direct one-to-one comparison in terms of like the elves basically being fiercely like guarding of their home, even though that is the case. We're born in society, one of the few orcs. There's like no orcs in this. It is not typical fantasy. Other two were born outside the strongholds, because I play a lot of Redguard, Skyrim. They were born outside of Hammerfell. Yeah, they kind of like, because my character is the Vina subrace, they more grow up in like mountainous ranges, like snow and mountains and stuff. But in terms of like the Viera as a whole, their style, there's not much societal differences. They're both relatively similar from what I've read. So Vail was a protector. Well, I'm not gonna go into too much detail. We're gonna point in like, I'm basically gonna, you know what I'll do, if I could bullet point it, that'd actually be helpful for myself. Also, I hope that's not too small. I'll make it bigger for you guys if you want. Vail was a protector of his birth village for many years. Eventually he found this life to be unfulfilling. Also, I don't know if this autocorrects me. Okay, right. This fucking word.pad thing doesn't seem to use autocorrect, so if I make any spelling mistakes, bear with it. I'll just fix them in post or fix them off stream. I'll probably end up making a backup of this anyway, so I'll fix anything in the backup and then maybe bring it back in. Despite taking his role very seriously. Seriously. He wanted to venture. Yeah. Wanted to venture. Oh! Yeah, the Vera society is matriarchal, but they're both male and female Vera outside the society. Oh yeah, definitely. Well, that's what I was thinking of, like, because you can have a birth name and then, like, you can adopt a new name when you leave your village. Because I'm pretty sure you can't return. It's like kind of a, like, if you leave, you're like gone. Like, you can't come back. Like, so Vail will be one of the many that we see that, like, live among society and stuff like that. Want to venture out, or venture to the outside world and seek his, yeah, it was mainly money. He wanted to seek his fortune and basically live a more comfortable, like a more lavish life. Seek his fortune, which is kind of like why I resonated towards Limsa Laminsa as kind of being like a more pirate-esque stake. Like, he didn't want to be like a pirate or anything, but like the vibes and stuff like that I really liked. Seek his fortune and live a more comfortable life. And then that would lead, what else we got that we could put in pre A Realm Reborn. I haven't got much into his personality yet, but because it will change. Like, part of me wants to go through these first because of the fact that his personality will develop as we get deeper and deeper into the story. I wouldn't say he's naive, but he's trusting of outsiders. And the reason I put outsiders in quotes is because it's funny that he's basically the outsider now. Because even though, like, as he was protecting his village, you have to be, it was basically on site. Like, if you got close to the village, you were either captured or you were just killed on the spot. Of outsiders, despite now being the outsider himself. Okay, and then what else we got? Yeah, but I understand the idea of that. Yeah. It's mainly for myself, so yeah, I think that's a good place. Oh, excuse me, after getting. So I just gotta text that, quickly answer. Okay, cool. I see what you're doing with the lore, but it doesn't really suit your character. I mean, it's not based on me. Like, Vail is not like a character I really take from myself as much, as aside from like maybe some personality aspects. But like, I'm like, this is a character that's being made from scratch. Like, this isn't like gonna be me as Nova in the Final Fantasy world. This is going to be Vail. It's going to be his own story. It's going to be his own personality. It's him. We're completely, like, this is one of those things where I'm not like, yeah, it's my character, but the similarities are going to be few. You seem to like your characters a little naive, if you know what I mean. Yeah, I do, but I kind of don't want to rely on it as a crutch in this instance. It's very easy to be like, oh, the bright-eyed adventurer, and then trauma happens. And that will happen, trust me. I've played through this game, like, at least 300 plus hours into this game. Trauma will happen. But at the moment, we're kind of just sussing stuff out. The character seems more like a goofball who absolutely hate people who are evil bastards. He also seems to touch naive, unlike you in real life. I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that. Yeah, he does, because if you think about it, like that's a big statement to make, first of all, that he just, like, incredibly naive to the point where he'll trust anyone and hates anyone evil. It's such a black and white view of things that Vail wouldn't have, as he's basically had to take life, regardless of if the person was a good person or a villain or not before, in protection of his village, because you can't take that kind of risk. So that's why, like, I don't agree with the idea of Vail being this, like, yeah, he can be a little bit bright-eyed to some extent, because it's like, you're now venturing into a bigger world than your village. And despite never seeing your village, might possibly never ever seeing your village again, like there's a wonder to it. There's a wonder to it. He's not completely like gonna be like, oh, da 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 da. If you know what I mean. If you get what I'm saying. Not that naive, trustworthy, but hates evil without personal reason. He'd hate injustice. His evil is like different shades and stuff like that. He ain't stupid. He can see when someone's playing the wool over his eyes. Obviously, he doesn't trust people easily. I'm just saying. He assumes the world is better to be better than it is. I'd say there would be moments. He's not going to be completely guarded, but yeah, sometimes his guard just drops, and I think that's fair. He'd still kind of be learning the ways of the world because things are a bit different. But when you have leaders like Nanamo, yeah, like most of the three states are actually ruled by women as well. So it's actually kind of fitting coming into this world. So when you're entering Eorzea, like you have Nanamo Ulnamo, who is the Sultana, which is where he starts. He starts off in Ul'dah, which we'll get to. We'll watch that cutscene together. We have Merylwib, who is the leader of the Maelstrom and basically leader of Limsa Lominsa, who is a woman. And then we have Kani Senna, who is the Grand Seedseer, who is also a woman. So we have, it's very much like like his first thought would be, oh, is this a matriarchal society too? And then it's just, no, these are just the people in power. They weren't always in power. These are just who are in power now. It's like, oh, okay. I'm learning type of deal. And my Navy is lowest guard easily. Don't mean he's stupid. Didn't say your character was Goku clone. Also, don't think your character hates evil as in just evil in general. It's more of like, there's necessary evils and then there's malice evils. I still have to like really deal with that for Vail, because we've never had to really encounter that in the game itself, of like making a moral dubious decision in the game. At least not that I can remember. At least not as far as I can remember, and that's why we're going to go through the cutscenes. Like if a person makes a gambling ring to feed their family, he probably wouldn't be too bad person. Makes a gambling ring to get rich. Yeah, like that's the grayness we kind of need to some extent. Right, yeah, still a bit weary of the world around him, but not too trusting / naive. I mean, we do have like a major catalyst into like him guarding up a bit at the end of A Realm Reborn, or post A Realm Reborn when we get there. So yeah, I think that's a good place to actually go straight into A Realm Reborn then. So we'll keep this the same. Starts adventure as gladiator job. Because I do have a canon reason as to why he becomes a gunbreaker down the line. Because it involves a moment in Heaven's Ward. Starts adventure as gladiator. Class in the city of Ul'dah. Yeah. Okay, that's right. So now we're gonna watch that cutscene together. We're gonna watch the opening cutscene together. I might have to do a little bit of speaking because not all the cutscenes have vocal dialogue. So let me swap over here. Also, you're going to see a bit of a dissonance because my character is no longer of the era. I didn't think I would be doing anything Final Fantasy XIV related in the nearer future, so I fantasiaed into a Lalafell because why the fuck not? And a female Lalafell specifically because I still want to wear the pretty outfits. So that is why Vail is currently a small woman. But it is not canon. The canon version of Vail will always be a male Viera with the dark hair. I tried to keep some details the same despite changing it. Still, I've got the purple eyes, like the dark hair with the white outlines and stuff like that, or the highlights and stuff like that. So if you're wondering why that is the case, that is why. Okay, let me quickly, I have to mute this, and then I have to turn the, there we go. So now we can watch the cutscene together. So we're going to watch the very first cutscene together. I'm pretty sure, I'm hoping the cutscene will be, like, cutscene 1 will be like the first one. Because this is what's going to be, okay, got adventure-seeking thrills. It does not care about morality, obviously. What's the name of the big race? Oh, Rogadin, yeah, I have a female Ro, who quite literally is just the epitome of a thrill seeker who does not care what happens to her. Yeah, that's cool. Right. So let's watch this together. I'm assuming this is the right cutscene. This should be the very first cutscene in the game where we're coming to Ul'dah. Never mind. Do we not have the first cutscene? Can we not actually watch the first cutscene? That's nuts. I thought they'd at least let us do that. I suppose that is kind of where our adventure begins. That's why it's called the unending journey. But that's actually kind of nutty. Right, so that means I have to go and get it off freaking... That means I have to go and get it off of YouTube instead. Okay, hang on. That didn't work as well as I thought. Every other cutscene past that point should be fine though. Alright, let me swap that off. And then... okay, bring this over here. YouTube. And then... Final Fantasy 14. The intro. So it'll be someone else's character. But... it is just to get us... Assuming there's no, like... Just to give us the context. Okay. I'll fast forward this a bit as well, because we're going to skip the Asian stuff and have us go straight into... Yeah, okay. Right, found it. Okay, let me swap over here real quick. Final Fantasy 14. Make sure I'm picking the right one. It's not letting me use it. Why is it being awkward? Okay. I also need a female Rogan and Red Sun, which both kind of name and reference, yeah. It's not giving me the fucking... Yeah, that's not the right one. That's the lo-fi stuff. God dang it. It won't let me... Hang on. Maybe if I... OBS is being a bitch. Hang on. Okay, right, we found it. Okay, right. For some reason it wasn't coming, the window wasn't coming up. Forgot to mention she's a warrior. Nice. Okay. So, character's gonna be different, all that's gonna be different. We just kinda have to accept that. I'll do my best to read. But yeah. You alright, lass? You were moaning something fierce for a while there. Yes, we basically were asleep the entire time. We just... You're finally awake, feeling the effects of the ether, I reckon. You get used to it though, don't worry. So this is the very first cutscene of the game after you make your character. And actually one of 3, because it depends on where... It depends on what city state you start in. Because we're starting in Ul'dah. This is the one that we will see. Or we will have seen. You there! Halt! Mine was on a boat. Yeah, yours was probably Limsa then. What's this all about? Because I think for Gridania and Ul'dah, you're on a carriage. And then for Limsa. Inspection. Men, search the carriage. Oh yeah, and this is where we also have... you can't see the mouse. Alize and Alphino in the left there. Or right, sorry. I'm just an honest peddler, friend, so don't be too disappointed if you don't find nothing, eh? Mind your tongue, old man, lest I cut it out. Yeah, it's like, great introduction to the world. Sir, look, Somnus. Honest peddler, was it? Since when do honest peddlers deal in prohibited herbs? You're in a lot of trouble, old man. You'll rot in a dungeon till the end of your days. Unless you can afford the fine. So yeah, already we're being extorted, like, as a first cutscene. Yeah, business as usual. And then our carriage gets attacked. Ugh! Yep. Amalja! Amalja! To arms! To arms! Yeah. So this is at a point where, like, we're not even at... It's mad seeing this because now we're all at peace with it. 7 hells, consider this a warning. Now go, all of you. Up to the current date, we're basically allies with, like, the Amalja and all of them as well. But it's very interesting to see how where we started, and it was just on site for these people. So this was like this is our first introduction to the world. So this is why I say I wouldn't think Vail being too naive. Ooh, that kind of excitement ain't good for the heart. You be careful around them brass blades, lass. Bastards will have the shirt off your back if they fancy it. Like common bandits they are, only less honest. Yep. I think the brass blades are the military force, or city guards, but they're very corrupt. Thank the gods for sending some beastmen. Oh, seeing as they've got along right ahead. You might keep me company till we arrive. I don't know. We might end up skipping some of this stuff. Them young'uns don't care much for conversation, see? Yeah, because they're also... I think they're also just coming from Charlian. Brent's the name, and peddling's my trade. And judging by your unusual garments, I wager you're one of them new adventurers. Yeah, so like, you basically start off as an adventurer in the game, like. I knew it. Going wherever the wind blows, seeking fortune and glory. And that's what I call living. Which is basically what Vail wants. As long as you can avoid dying, I mean. Ain't no secret that adventuring's risky business. These days especially. What was it that attracted you to it? See, this is why I would have picked, yeah, to gain power, to win a glory, to amass a fortune. I picked amass a fortune. But if you ain't like to tell, I ain't tired to pry. Might as well old Brent's chatterbox. You sure as hell ain't no busybody. We all have a secret or three, don't we? Me? Dozens. I'd rather they stay secret too, which is why I don't go sticking my nose where it ain't welcome. Going through some of these cutscenes is going to be strange. Just remember though, there's more important things than fortune and glory, such as breathing. Ain't no profit in being dead, and that's a fact. Yeah, just kind of the very start and stuff. By the way, is this your first trip to Ul'dah? Which it is. This would be Vail's first trip to Ul'dah. So you can imagine, like, Ul'dah is probably like the more blatantly corrupt city state in the first game, like, or in 2.0 as well. Alright, wait, are they gonna go through... Yeah, Ul'dah is ruled by the Sultana's name and power. We don't need to go through all of this. I can explain all of this stuff. He's just gonna go into all of, like, the Sultana and the Syndicate holds all the real power. They treat the Sultana as, like, more of a figurehead rather than a... And that, like, changes throughout the story and stuff like that as well. And then we eventually get to... Ul'dah. So if you said yes, this isn't my first time, or no, it's not my first time, or whatever the question was, I think you skip all that dialogue. Dialogue.
By the shifting sands of an endless desert, she rises, a solitary rose amidst the dust and rock, a symbol of defiance. Her name, Ul'dah.
Yeah.
Even with the coming of the seventh umbral era, hope springs eternal for the mongers and merchants who vie for lost fortunes in this bustling oasis. As the twin faces of Nold Thal maintain their vigil over all that has been and shall be, the present proffers a brave soul.
Yeah. So now it's like, oh, this is where you come in, young adventurer. This is like before you're known as the Warrior of Light. I doubt I'm going to use that moniker for my character.
Prosperity for the realm.
And this is where we part ways, lass. Weirdly how this is like partially voiced. I'm off to the markets to deliver me wares, then it's onto the high road for me. Here, I want you to have this, by the way. Thanks for putting up with me prattle. You never did tell me your name, though. But hey, here's an idea. Become some sort of storied personage I can brag about having met, and I'll consider a square. This sentence is funny as fuck when you're up to date on the story, because you're basically you basically stop the universe-ending threat.
Fortunes as they kindle the flames which burn within us all. For by fire are we reborn.
Yeah, apologies for the quality, but it's as good as I could get. There we go. Final Fantasy XIV. I think that's pretty much it then. Yeah, everything else past this point is like tutorial talk. So, nice. Okay, so let's head back to the word. So, what we do from here, every other cutscene should be fine now. I should have access to every other cutscene in the game. I'll be very upset if there's some ones missing. Right, so we start as a gladiator, so naturally we start as, I just realized I spelled gladiator wrong. Gladiator. Gladiator. Okay, spelled right. Didn't look right for a sec. Right, so then we join the Gladiators Guild and eventually becomes a paladin. Because, hey, because, yeah, it kind of plays into the, hey, protecting people, like, is like, hey, that sounds pretty good, actually. And then, hey, if I get paid for it on the side, why not? Becomes a paladin. So he does. So that is canon. You can't start with Gunbreaker, but I'm making it so that way he does start off being a gladiator and a paladin for the sake of the one story thing I remembered, or from the sake of one story beat that we'll get to later on. My characters are monsters and murderers and bastards. They're not hypocrites. Yeah, I could never. I literally could never. It's already funny at the beginning because my character is already somewhat of an infamous reputation. Yeah. Right. So what we gotta do? So a realm reborn covers a lot of stuff, because we have like, we eventually meet the Scions. So like, right. So for now, we're gonna say that we do join the Scions as regular in the story. So meet Thancred for the first time and join Scions of the 7th Dawn. We'll keep that canon for now. If I need to, or if it clashes with something, we'll also, this is more of like a first draft than anything else. So what else we got? Okay. Lots of stuff happens. It's a lot of tutorial and a lot of world building in A Realm Reborn, more than like actual kind of like story. I mean, it's all story, but it's all like prep for everything to come after it. So that's why my brain is still kind of fuzzy on like certain things. You know, I want most hilarious part of my character. I haven't decided what their canonical race would be. It's a combination between female aura and male Highlander Hugher. All right, yeah, that's one thing I would have liked to have done, because they're not adding any more races to the game now, since they have given us male and female of everything else. So it would be cool to get like combinations if they would allow that. For me, it's like I want more customization options. If they're not gonna add new races entirely, they may as well improve on the ones we actually have. Fanatically, my character is both a thief and warrior. Yeah, it's kind of funny as well, because like I did want to actually like make rogue my main class, and then I eventually stuck with paladin because I like being a tank. Like, yeah, you know what, this is pretty good. So let's see. I'm gonna just quickly skim through. I'm not gonna swap over here yet. I just need to check in terms of cutscenes. So what's cutscene 2? I think 2 is basically just like we fight. So I'm not gonna swap over yet because I need to find the cutscene. Yeah, right. Yeah, so that's why we fight the thing, and then we get our vision of Hydaelyn and stuff like that. So we're not gonna do that just yet. We're not covering Hydaelyn and Zodiac and all of the Ascian stuff is gonna be complicated. So I'm mainly focused on brass tacks, the character themselves, more than the overarching story. So yeah. A royal reception, so that's when we meet, I think, Nanamo for the first time. I'm not gonna we're not gonna watch every cutscene together. I'm just trying to get a good grasp of. Oh yeah, it's basically like, hey, you protected the Sultana, so you're welcome to join this dinner or banquet or whatever. And then it leads more into the echo and the visions and stuff like that. I'm still debating on if I'll keep that power. It's a bit overpowered, to be fair. The Ul'dan convoy. I think the Ul'dan convoy makes a lot of sense. So like, I think like we've shown our skill as an adventurer. We've shown our skill as an adventurer like enough to that basically the government trusts us to like deliver messages and stuff. So we've like proven that we are like, we're not only strong, but like, and even then it's like people are like, oh, you might actually be the warrior of light, and it's like, dismiss that shit, dismiss all that. Without is actually half a free because he's half the playable races, the other half which is weird physiology. How am I gonna put it? Right, skipping through. I do have to watch this to its full because I want to make sure that we get the full thing. Yeah, it's like Raban's like, hey, you've got potential, kid. And it's like, don't call me kid, but I appreciate it. The secondary race has 0 sexual dimorphism. Yeah, like you have like some weirdness with the like male and female auras, but they're like, you're either a giant as a male or like you're an absolute like You're tiny as a female. And I think the oh, right. That's not the final cutscene. Okay, so that was just Rabon saying, hey, you did good, kid. Don't know why that got flagged, but yeah, the whole race looks like females about 50-50%. Oh yeah, this is when we go back to Adventurers Guild and we talk to Momody, and Mobody's like, oh my god, you're so cool, you're so good. Yeah, personal envoy of the Flame General himself. And it's basically like, I think when we go from like place to place, Momody is basically like our like adventuring mom initially if you start in Ul'dah. The funniest part is my father was part of that other race. Alright. Right, so I'm skimming through. Like I said, I'm not trying to watch every single cutscene in the game. I'm just trying to skim through. Okay, yeah, so that wasn't it. I think, what's... Right, no. So that was like a whole thing. We're just kind of getting a lot of yapping. Okay, I think this is the cutscene. In which case, I'll swap over and then we can watch this together. So it looks like for a split second, they were let's be a couple. Okay, right, yeah, this is the cutscene. All right, we'll watch this one together. Like I said, I know it is a Lady Lala, as I'll call them, but they would normally be a bunny man, and not a Lady Lala. Right, let's hop back over here. We'll watch this one together. Because this is where like I wouldn't say we've gained enough like popularity, or like we've shown our prowess as an adventurer. We've shown that we can be trusted because we've defended the attention all passengers, the boarding for Lisbon, please make your way to the boarding gate. Basically, because we saved the Sultana's life, we've proven we can be trusted. So having that be our like a catalyst for us eventually gaining fame and stuff like. You've more notoriety. Yeah, that's right. I couldn't think of the word. It's basically the punchline to my story. So yeah, once again, this is meant to be a bun boy, but for the sake of not wasting Fantasias, I didn't want to change back. So use your imagination. If you see my character, Yeah, so this is like the airship. Because only certain people are allowed on the airship. The name carries weight, just not as much weight. Yeah, exactly. There's Tancred there. And then, like, all of them that we helped out. Yeah. And then, when first we meet beneath the Sultan tree, I sensed there was something unusual about her. I wonder if they feel the same. So that's who we saved. That's, like... Yeah, Godspeed, Vail. Godspeed. And then she helped us get settled and set up in Ul'dah. When we started off. If I'm right, they'll be singing your praises from here to the far reach before long. It's kind of... I'm kind of getting emotional watching this back. May you always walk in the light of the crystal. I'm kind of getting emotional watching this stuff back because of how far we've come in the game and the story. They'll be singing songs about you before long. And it's like, yeah, we saved the fucking world 10 times over. There better be a couple of songs about us, but it's fun. It's nice seeing that. So that is, yeah, a small cutscene, but it has a lot of weight. I believe the convoy, or becoming the Flame General's envoy is canon. That definitely feels like canon. It's like, yeah, I'll take the opportunity. Hell yeah. Why not? Type of deal. So yeah. So we'll put that in for A Realm Reborn. So it becomes Ul'dah envoy. Yeah, so we end up going to Limbs of Lemons. See, part of me's thinking as well, because when you get further into A Realm Reborn, you pick a Grand Company, and part of me is thinking, do I make that canon or not as well? Because I joined the Maelstrom, which is the Limsa Grand Company. I actually don't join the Immortal Flames. So, and I'll just say I for the sake of the character. It's easier to just say it that way. So yeah, become the envoy. We'll work on that later. We watched the memorial. Yeah, so like we watched the memorial service and stuff like that, because that was the whole point of becoming an envoy. Gaining more Notoriety. Once again, probably going to spell this wrong because it doesn't correct me. Gaining more notoriety. And fame. Fame to some extent, at least. Okay. Yeah, because it's a lot of, like, I'm trying to, like, hey, let me go back here. So we got, Jesus. Question is, what is your character's arc? My whole arc is that's supposed to be essentially having the past catch up with you, having finally faced the problems I've been running away from for the amount of time. Well, that feels like a thing that would be a separate document. That feels like a whole separate document where I'd basically just make Vail's story from scratch. But he's not really running away from anything. We're at the moment, we're just going off of the story that we've experienced in game. And then if I really want to, I will make a whole separate document that is basically an entire story and background and everything in the world of Aetheris from scratch. So yeah, this is a baseline document that you use to plan the second one. Yeah, like this will help me make a separate one down the line. And even then, I'm gonna take my time with this. I'm not gonna try and rush it to get it done. So we're kind of just playing it by ear. Like I said, this might take us, this is like kind of a thing where it's like, hey, if people are interested in me doing this, I'll keep doing this. If not, I'll just keep it to myself and I'll do it on my own time. As far as I know, the world's in trouble because the character's past helped a bunch of people who were all friends or friends of friends. Basically every problem in the story was indirectly caused by me. Yeah, that's a bit nutty. Yeah, I've seen like people that have made like specific like, oh, they're like helping out, or like someone made like a brother to the to a minor character in like the game and stuff like that, and like they go from there and like that's their like character and stuff like that. So they're not like, there's like a warrior, basically there's a warrior of light timeline and a non-warrior of light timeline. While I wouldn't consider this one a warrior of light timeline, it's following the story the warrior of light would have gone on. So that's why like I would separate those entirely. That's why the whole arc is having to face the past worst parts. None of my allies even know. No, none of my allies even know. Yeah, like I think for now with Vail, yeah, just becoming a fledgling adventurer, earning like fame and fortune and stuff like that. It's just kind of his goal. But he doesn't want to do it in like the more, like normally when you go for fame and fortune, your first instinct is like crime and thievery and like all that stuff. But that's never been Vail's way. I do believe Vail has a strong sense of justice. Maybe not the best sense of right and wrong, but a strong sense of justice to some extent. And that's something I can flesh out more when we get through like all of like the major points. Yeah, so the Scions of the Seventh Dawn. I do believe he would join the Scions. We're not gonna watch that cutscene. It's very bare bones. It's like, oh, we get introduced, because that's how we'd get introduced to Y'shtola. Actually, you know what? You know what? No, we don't have to watch that. So yeah, I feel like, yeah, he would join the Scions, I'd say. So eventually joins the Scions. I'm not gonna put Scions of the Seventh Dawn oh, no. Oh, right, never mind. I already have it down. I also spelt this wrong. Right, so meets the rest of the Scions. Including Y'shtola, because she's going to be incredibly important for Vail down the line. Y'shtola. She's gonna be incredibly important because she's the character that I plan on shipping. And the reason I put an asterisk there is because I plan on shipping my character with Y'shtola in this specific timeline. However, I have not seen anyone else doing this specific thing, shipping their characters and making it canon for themselves. So, I'm gonna hold off. The asterisk is there. If it becomes a plotline, I will add it post fixing up everything here. I will add it after the fact. I'm not too big on forming, like, because that's this whole thing. That's something I'd rather go in... That's something I'd rather go in depth on itself. And like I said, that also comes with Shadowbringers as well. Because I feel like for me personally, when I was playing through the game, Shadowbringers is where that relationship would have blossomed further than meeting them, like basically like love at first sight. Don't want that, don't like it. kind of doing a slow burn thing. That might be its own fucking document, not gonna lie. But I have the asterisk next to Ishtola's name, with her being specifically mentioned, so I can come back to it. Right, so let me quickly skim through here. Yeah, so now it's just a bunch of like... Yeah, we fight the primals and stuff like that. We join a grand company, which I'm not too sure which one I'll pick if I make that whole thing canon. Because that's basically joining the army. That's the equivalent of joining the army. Now it's go around fighting crystals. Stopping the beast tribes from like summoning basically deities. The only problem with like not having my character technically be a warrior of light is the warrior of light is immune to tempering. And if Vail gets tempered, the story ends there pretty much. It's bad end pretty much. So I don't think he would, if I make him a, I can put an asterisk for that actually. Not present for primal fights due to tempering. Yeah. And I'll put an asterisk next to that. I'll put an asterisk next to that because that might be changed if I do decide to give him the echo, because the echo is what makes you immune to that tempering and all that jazz. So right, so yeah. And then we kind of have a lot of the Garlean stuff like later. We have a lot of the Garlean stuff later into the story. Yeah, so we meet up with Sid, we help him fix his ship, we fight Garuda. Yeah, and then the Garleans show up. I feel like he would definitely, I don't think there's any risk of tempering. Yeah, so he would definitely be there for the entire Garlean conflict in the latter half of the game. He would definitely be present for that. Present for entire Garlean conflict in late ARR. Okay. I think that's fair. Because basically what happens is, sure, like, one of the Garleans basically invades the Waking Sands, busts Gats, kidnaps Minfilia, and then, like, everything goes to shit. Oh, also for the fact that Thancred gets his body possessed by the Ascians as well. So at this point, Vail would be aware of the Ascians. So, like, outside of explanations from, like, Minfilia. Because we get a whole lore dump of how, like, Ascians work, how they don't die, how they need to be, like, taken out in a specific way, how the Ethereal Sea works, like, life and rebirth. We get a whole fucking exposition dump in ARR. So, I'll say more aware. More aware of the Ascian threat. Because while we have fought our fair share, we would have avoided the Ascians if we didn't take part in the primal fights, because to avoid tempering. And it's like, we can't have all our major scions and possibly our strongest guy, because while I don't think we would be the strongest starting out as well. I still think, like, the likes of Thancred at least, and Thancred, Papalimo, and not, yeah. At least those two would be stronger than our character, I'd say. Personally speaking. Because, like, I mean, I don't know. Maybe he'd be on par with them. Because he spent most of his, like, teenage to adult life. And, like, I'd say by this point, he'd maybe be mid-20s if I did want to put an age on him. But either way, he's an adult. Basically, for a majority of his life, he would have been trained how to fight and trained how to defend in defense of his village. So yeah, I'd imagine that he's not, like, while he's a fledgling adventurer, he has experience in fighting, where it's not just like a gameplay loop of, oh, we're leveling up and we're getting better at this. So I feel like, yeah, so like I don't like power scaling, but for the sake of just for my own thought process, power, I'll say relative in power through Thancred, because he's also pretty Thancred and Papalimo. Why do I mention Papalimo specifically? Papalimo is basically the strongest mage in the Scions at this point, I think. Maybe Ishtola. Ishtola really comes into her own in the later expansions, though. So, you know what? I won't dismiss Ishtola, because also we don't see a lot of Urian J, so it's by this point it'd be hard to measure his power. And Ishtola. I'd say that's fair. My whole character's arc is to start off as a Sour of Darkness because of the help many evil beings come to power. He becomes a warrior of light after rectifying his past problems. When he's finally packed up, comes into the Reaper Shadow, finally reaping the chaos he sowed. Obviously my main class after that is going to be the Reaper class, as a clumsy metaphor. Yeah, that's fair. That's cool. Okay. I think that kind of covers the major points of Vail Realm Reborn. I think that covers, like, some major points when it comes to a Realm Reborn. So, like, yeah, we start off the adventure as the gladiator class. Yeah, I won't say as a, I'll say as a gladiator for the sake of, like, keeping things, like, immersive. I'll try not to reference as much in terms of game mechanics in this, like, mini doc as possible. I say mini doc, we're like, there's no pages, this page split, it's gonna be long enough. And it's gonna get even longer once because I'll probably tweak this on my own time as well. Trusting of outsiders, okay. Starts adventure as a gladiator, joins the Gladiators Guild, becomes Paladin, meets Thancred and joins the Scion of Seven Dawn, becomes the Ul'Dan Envoy, gaining more notoriety and fame. I'll say throughout Eorzea because, yeah, throughout Eorzea, because Eorzea is not the entire world. We got a whole other world when we get to, like, Stormblood, pretty much. Meets the rest of the Scions, including Ishtola. The point there for a good reason. Essentially to combine his nature as someone who wants to be absolved but also fall back into old habits. He cannot truly get away from his past actions, but he can use them to his own advantage. Yeah, that's cool. Okay, not present for the primal fights due to tempering. That has an asterisk there, just in case I do decide to change that. Maybe he shows up after the primals do their whole, like, tempering thing, and he's there at the last minute to, like, offer a hand. So that mightn't be entirely true, we'll see. Present for the entire Garlean conflict. Yes, he would feel very, very pissed off that his new friends got hurt or helped. Very shonen, like. But yeah, he would not take the Garlean conflict lying down, especially if everyone is pretty much getting involved. More aware of the Ascian threat due to body snatching. Due to Thancred's body snatching. Yes, because La Habrea basically snatches his body. His whole weave snatched. Okay. Okay. So then relative power, yeah, relative. That's just kind of like a side note. Relative in power to Thancred, Papalimo, and Ishtola. Damn, you constantly pinging it. You're constantly pinging it today. I get why though. You're just trying to, like, go into detail in your character and stuff like that as well. Let me take a drink. We're kind of getting close to ARR, to be honest, because, not like I said, a lot of stuff that happens in A Realm Reborn is exposition and set up for the later stories. I'll say this, our characters will probably hate each other. Oh yeah, no doubt. Vail would not like your character one bit. He'd be amenable to redemption of some kind if they're like trying to prove that they're, like, becoming a better person. But yeah, my church would hate yours because you do not. Would hate yours until characters, no matter how great they might be, your character would hate mine because their past evils and total disregard of consequences. But this is just surface level. Yeah, Vail is open to, like, because we've had characters that have, like, been completely abhorrent, but, like, maybe have some kind of aspect to them that's sympathetic, like Fordola in Stormblood. She joined the Garleans and turned on her own countryman because she thought it was the only thing she could fucking do. Also, like, she became bitter after what happened to her, like, parents and stuff like that, where basically they were, like, ridiculed on the streets and stuff like that for, like, giving into, like, the Garlean, basically giving into Garlean supremacy and stuff like that. So, in that instance, Fordola's actions aren't justifiable, but you can empathize by why she did what she did. So, like, if it's that kind of thing, Vail can definitely, like, if there's something there, Vail can definitely get over that and, like, at least be cordial with someone. My character isn't sympathetic, though. He does not regret his actions. He just regrets not thinking them through. He was too brash in a mind rather than being. While your character would see it as evil, my character would see it as a stupid thing to do. Yeah, it is just surface level at the end of the day. Okay. Okay, I don't think there's much else I could think of in A Realm Reborn. Then we have Post A Realm Reborn, and this is where shit gets spicy, because we have betrayals and all this other shit. So right, let me skip. Right, so the 7th Umbral era, we have the 7th Astral era, because that's where those cutscenes are. Your character is more of a moral compass, mine's more of a practical compass. Yeah, that's fair. My character would be more emotional, and that's like more amplified, if not tempered, in later expansions. Okay, that one's like more of a thing. A gifted rather than leave a master. Yeah, we basically get run out of like the Waking Sands. So yeah, could we get set up? Jeez, we even get set up for Stormblood in this in ARR. Holy shit! Gift of Eternity. Yes, it's more primal stuff. Yeah, this is basically where, like, cause like, I'm pretty sure all of this is where. Yeah. Okay. Never mind. What gods are made of? Yours. Yeah. Yeah, meeting Harchifon for the first time. The forming of the Crystal Braves. Oh. Yeah. Because, like, Alphino forms the Crystal Braves, and then it all goes horribly fucking wrong. So fucking fast. We have, like... Fuck, man. Like the entire, like... The entire thing is just tossed on its head, where we have the forming of the Crystal Braves, we have, like, and this is like an early Alphino that thinks, oh, I can totally do this, and then, like, he's completely, like, done. We meet Moonbreeda, we lose Moonbreeda, and then we have, like, a whole thing with Midgard Stormer as well. Steps of Faith. Parting Glass before the dawn. Yeah, I think the Parting Glass is basically like the final cutscene where everyone basically sacrifices themselves to let us to basically let us escape, because I think we're the only, only 3 of us fucking escape, because the Crystal Braves basically turned on us, because it was one of those Lalafell fucks from Ul'dah, I can't remember his name. And then, yeah, like, and then, like, what's his name again? Ilberd, yeah, okay, right. We got a lot to cover. Basically, trauma happens. Trauma and pain. Trauma and pain. Because there are some things I can't even talk about as well, because there's a cutscene with Urianger basically hinting he's working with the Scions, but Vail wouldn't be aware of that because of the fact that he wasn't there for it. I'm assuming our characters definitely hate each other after destroying my dark past. They merely embrace it for what little power boosts, not even much of one. Yeah, right, so only survivor with Alphino and only survivor with Alphanode, and what's her fucking name? I'm so upset. I can't remember her name. Shit. Hang on, I'll go to the very end because it'll probably have the Tataru, yeah, Jesus, how did I forget her name? Tataru. And also, this would be a major turning point for Vail, because he'd want Ilbert's fucking head. Because he spent most of his life up to this point being able to properly protect his village from danger. This would be the first time he's failed at a very similar effing job. So he'd want Ilbert's fucking head on a pike. I will mount your head where my tail used to be. Right. Severe grudge. No, a grudge is not even fucking doing it justice. Only survivor what? Alpha no. That's Tatara. Taru. There we go. Taruta. Okay, this would definitely be an opportune time for our characters to cross paths because my character is not big on revenge. No, he absolutely would. Here's the thing, though. Like, he wouldn't get his revenge because of what happens. That's the thing. There are so many times, I think, while me as a player have wanted to just lop someone's head off for the sake of like them doing some fuck shit, Ilbert is probably the more visceral one. Oh yeah, because there was an assassination attempt on the fucking Sultana and everything. Yeah, so he's going through this entire thing. The Sultana gets quote-unquote assassinated. The Scions are basically framed for the murder. And then the Crystal Braves, with Ilbert at the helm, turns on us. So he'd be the main target, because the original main target, which is one of the, I can't remember his name, but it's one of the Lalafeld's dude, Rauban ends up killing him in a fit of rage after hearing what happens to Nanamo. So yeah, wants revenge on Ilbert. The thing is, though, he can't get revenge because right now we've been ran out of, like, the city-states because of the fucking Crystal Braves basically being deployed on every major city-state, which is where we meet Harchifont, and then we end up going to Heaven's Ward, meet, has a vendetta. Yeah. It's one of those things, though, where he's not actively seeking it because he physically can't. So the one thing he's more concerned about right now is getting stronger so the same thing doesn't happen to Tataru and Alphino. And getting stronger so that way he doesn't, like, nothing like that happens again. Like, that would be a major, I'll say major turning point for Vail. Because now he's, like, out for blood. But at the same time, but the thing is, though, like, while he has that in the back of his mind, his priority would still be Alphino and Tataru. And finding the rest of them if the others are still alive. That would still be his priority. It wouldn't be, I'm going to discard everything to get Ilbert's head on a fucking pike. No. His first and utmost priority is to protect. Protection, and that is why he became a paladin as well. The whole sword and shield thing is part of his character. While he didn't use the sword and shield as a protector of his village, he's damn well using one now. So what else have we got? Yeah, so like at that point, yeah, like those are like the major ones for post ARR. So like Moonbreeder's death would have been sad, but it wouldn't have affected him as much as everything else past that point, which is where everyone basically gets the Scions get betrayed, Nanamo gets assassinated, and all that type of stuff is just happening. So meeting Harchifont, I'm gonna fuck the spelling up on this name, but meeting Harch and heading to Ishgard. That is where we'll go straight into Heaven's Ward then. Oh, got to. So Heaven's Ward. Heaven's Ward is a lot of it at the start is just kind of getting settled again. So we're basically kind of getting a slight repeat of ARR. beginning getting settled in Ishgard and helping when Vail can. He's like, okay, strength is kind of like, it's not like a Virgil type of I need more power type of thing. It's more of a, right, the situation we're in is fucked, so the least I can do is get stronger. It's the literal least he can do is get stronger by that point. So actually, following the story wall timeline. Fuck, keep misclicking items. Just so I can... okay. I think we're good then. Awesome. Okay. Just because you can't stick it out doesn't mean you don't have a vendetta. It just means if you find them... Yeah, no, it'll be on site. It will be on site. The moment he sees Ilbert again. But, like, also, at this point, Alphino, while he made that major mistake of, like, forming the Crystal Braves well before he had any experience to run such an organization, he's still kind of the brains. If anything, Alphino would be what keeps Vail cool in this situation, which is kind of funny because this guard is like ice and shit. But yeah. So, Alphino, I say, yeah, the 3... remaining scions form a closer bond. Like, he definitely consider Alphino and Tataru in this situation to be like his little siblings at this point. So I know everyone's like my son or my daughter when it comes to Alice and Alphino, but I think in this instant it'd be like he'd be a little brother, but he'd be the one that keeps him kind of in check. So Alphino and Tataru being, I'll just say pseudo siblings. Vail. Like, I can see that happening. That's definitely it. And then, like, when Ysayle and... Oh, I just realized something as well. When he meets Estinian... Oh, because Estinian's whole thing is vengeance on the dragons. He wants to kill Nidhogg. That's his only fucking goal. Vail could definitely reflect off of how he feels about Ilsebert through Estinian. Because the dragons, the whole thing with the dragons in Ishgard has been centuries, if not longer, of a grudge. So, like, I think Vail would eventually kind of calm down. He'd still want to, like, get his hands on Ilbert, but it wouldn't be nearly to the extent as he would have. Because that's a raw wound. That's a fucking raw wound, like, to come off of. So naturally, like, coming off post-ARR going into Heaven's Ward, in the back of his mind, he's like, I'm going to get my hands on him. I'm going to get my hands on him eventually. Retractor would even... Yo, Mana, welcome to the stream. We're doing something different today. My character would definitely just evolve into a war machine, only capable of destroying. That's the line to get greeted with. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we recently, like, if you can see what we've been through so far, we're not going to get through this entire document today. But we've made some, like, good, like, things. Especially this one. He came right after this one. Trauma and pain for our main character. To be honest, if our characters would ever team up to destroy that guy, my character would arguably somewhat of character, would not want to kill him. Yeah, that's a hell of a thing. Yeah, we're gonna get into that as well. That's what I'm saying, like, if you're Vanguard, if you're planning on, like, playing through FF14, like, I'm going to be spoiling entire story things. So, as I was saying, I'm not sure if this is the best stream because I'm going into all of the details. My character is essentially, your character is a vendetta worth staring your beliefs and go for it. Yeah. Either criminal or sus. Yeah. Basically, just to kind of quickly sum up, basically we had a whole betrayal arc, and basically there's a figurehead for that betrayal, and now Vail wants vengeance for said betrayal because most of his friends basically just got killed. Or seemingly killed, or missing. Basically, KIA or MIA to some extent. So in which way do you want to get your hands on him? War crime level hands. Geneva suggestion crime level. It's on site. Like, it's on site in the blades are coming loose. Like, don't hold me back, because you won't be able to type get my hands on someone. So that kind of, like, to quickly, like, give context. Yeah, my character is there, would stop in mind, but it's more important principle or petty revenge. It's not petty revenge in Vail's opinion. Like I said, Vail's had to kill people for less in defense of his village. Sure, the blades are coming loose. Don't give me that. Okay, right, so back on track, just real quick before we get off topic again. So yeah, Heaven's Ward is a lot of, like I said, there is one major event in Heaven's Ward that we will be watching, and I'm probably going to get sad again, because it is also a major turning point for the character in terms of how Vail fights. Because right now he's a paladin, so he's a sword and shield, he's defense, he's the tank, he's always there. He is there. But that will change in Heaven's Ward. Yes, but in my character's eyes, no matter how grand a gesture, revenge is always petty. It'll always be desired based on pure emotion, not reason. I don't think Vail would care. Like, since we're following the story, what happens in the story, Vail would feel upset, but it's kind of like he'll be upset, but at least it's dealt with type of deal. And even then, it's not properly dealt with because of what happens. We'll get there. I think that's like post Heaven's Ward as well, so we're not even close to it. But let me like quickly, right, so we're past ARR, we are now in Heaven's Ward. So we got Ishgard, we come to Ishgard, taking in the sights, all that stuff. We meet the Harchfon family. Oh yeah, I forgot we had a whole thing with Iceheart or Ysael with the whole dragon thing, because that basically sets up for, oh, sorry, hit the mic. Basically sets up for the whole Dragon Song war conflict and all that, to which Vail would take part, because he owes Harchfon for basically taking him in, even though he's basically a fugitive now. Divine intervention, I think. Yeah, I think this is important. Because basically what happens is Alphino and Tataru basically get arrested for possible, I think it's like for possible crimes that like relate to allying against the dragons or something. So I think we'll watch this cutscene together. So let me swap over here. I think this is the cutscene anyway. Oh, I forgot to turn the... Okay, never mind. That's not the cutscene. Either way, I have to... My character would not be above gloating. Yeah. Right. Let me quickly pause the music. We haven't actually been watching too many of the cutscenes, which is good, because the main point of the stream is to focus on the writing aspect of it more than the gameplay aspect. Yeah, so we have a whole trial here. While this is a small moment, this would be a big moment for Vail in terms of like protecting Tataru and Alphino. I was gonna say, this is voiced, yes.
Watchful gaze of the Fury to ascertain the guilt of two souls in a trial by combat. Petitioners, step forward. Sir Grino, for the benefit of all here present, I would ask you to repeat the charges which you have leveled against this man and this woman.
I, Sir Grino de Zemile, brother of the Heavens Ward, did bear witness to these two foreigners consorting with heretics.
Yeah, consorting with heretics, because the quote-unquote heretics are those that, like, agree with the dragons to some extent, and, like, ally with the dragons. So that is why they got arrested. And that's a big deal in Ishgard currently. At least by this point.
Let the accused step forward. Alphino Leveilleur, Tataru, you have heard the charges leveled against you. Will you take up arms to refute Sir Grino's claim, and thereby prove your innocence in the eyes of gods and men?
I, Alphino Leveilleur, am innocent of this charge, and claim my right to trial by combat.
I, Tataru, am innocent of this charge, but I am no warrior and cannot fight. So, I claim the right to name a champion.
Yeah. So this would be like the first step in like Vail getting stronger.
To the old and the infirm, the young and the weak, this right we allow. Very well. Who will stand for this woman?
Also, Mana, my character, I changed my character around so they're not a bumboy anymore. So they're now a small Lalafell woman because I didn't think I'd be doing anything Final Fantasy related. Just as a quick aside. Because my character shows up here. Yeah, completely different.
Just as I was beginning to doubt the efficacy of the Ishgardian justice system. Come, my friend. Let us put an end to this mama's farce.
Yeah. Yeah, and then that's it. Then we go straight into the fight. Can you read all my chats? It was a full diatribe. No problem. I don't see any difference. No problem. I don't know if I should take that as an insult or not. Yeah, so Alphino can fight. But Tatu can't. So she gets basically detained until the fight's decided.
Baloney, render unto us your judgment. Raise up the righteous and cast down the wicked.
Which is funny. I'm not the right class for this. But it's fine. I'm a paladin here. Just use your imagination. I'm a paladin here. Right, so I think there is I don't know if there's a cutscene for me winning, but yes, we would have successfully beaten and defended, beaten the Heaven's Ward, which those two knights are a part of, that we fought, and successfully cleared Alphino and Tataru of all charges. And that would be a turning point for the better for a change in terms of Vail's character. So Vail successfully, which would be funny if like, by the way, is there a spell sword class? Oh, the one class that you saw me using was Red Mage. So yeah, kind of like, yeah, mainly focused on magic and like balancing like mechanics and stuff like that. And then like your main combo was like your damage dealing, which is like the sword combo and stuff like that. So like that's like the only real spell sword class, I suppose. So I'll put this in and then I'll read through chat. Successfully defends Alphinod and Tataru in trial by combat, clearing them both of all charges, because the Heaven's Ward are working under King Thordan and they're basically striking out at anything that's deemed heretical. So naturally that was a miscarriage of justice to Vail's eyes, and it was in general, but it's like, oh, they're fucking around, time to make them find out. Clear them both of all charges. Yep, that would be like a turning point for Vail, where he's finally feeling a bit more confident in his strength again, while also proving that he is getting stronger. So that's a big one. Okay, let me just quickly go onto Twitch so I can read your chat. Okay. So yeah, it was like the blades coming loose. Yes, but the character's eyes don't matter. How gesture always a pay. It's always a desire based on pure emotion, not reason. The best part about the character interactions probably be caused the fight, which would be excellent. It'd be even better if I failed my attempt, just for you to realize revenge was petty. You did not stop a villain, you merely avenged a grudge. My character would be above gloating. A character would have pissed my character off, and my character would already be planning regicide. Yeah, as a whole thing anyway. Okay, so right, back to the game. I'll skip through here. Okay, so like that's a major one. Let me just see what else there is. Yeah, so we eventually like go on a whole journey with Estinian and Isail, which is where he would see like Estinians like need to kill Nidhogg and be like, I don't want to be like this. I want to bring like Vail's not a character that is, I guess, Batman in the sense of he's not above taking someone out if it means that is the justice that people deserve. He is not a no-kill person. Like I said, he's had to kill people for less in defense of his village before he became an adventurer. I'm getting some food before you become Batman. No problem. That will never happen. So yeah. Okay, so like Estinian's desire for revenge wakes Vail up to an extent. Because it's not a matter, because even though like he wants vengeance on Ilbert, he still did something that was worthy of bringing him to justice. Like, he still needs to be taken down a peg, even if it's like, if he dies, he dies. But if it like jail or like something is like the next best thing at that point, where it's like, okay, but like keep a close eye on him. He's a crafty bugger. Like, just don't let him free. My character is morally grey, but there are certain things that piss him off because he hates people with power trampling on those without any. Yeah, that was kind of like a whole thing as well. Because like he basically, like, the Crystal Brave thing was like a whole mess. Which is one thing that pisses my character off normally, when people who have no power gain power and then immediately use it to trample on people like them. Yeah, that would probably piss off Vail as well. He can't say if he's had experience with that fact. But yeah, that would probably really piss him off as well. One of them is a monster, the other is a traitorous monster. Yeah. Yeah, so Estinian's desire for revenge wakes up Vail to an extent. Revenge not being the only answer in the name of justice. Okay. Okay. So, yeah, because, like, also, it's kind of a thing where, like, Estinian's desire for revenge kind of overwrites Vail's. Like, because his is old, like, that grudge is old and fierce, and, like, while Vail's is fresh, it's not nearly as, like, to the extent of Estinian's was to Nidhogg. For revenge against Nidhogg, if I'm spelling that correctly. So, right, okay, yeah. And then another reason as well that, yeah, so, and then Ysayle would be like kind of the opposite. Ysayle, showing, then again, like, Ysayle had a whole wake-up call where basically she thought she was like the incarnation of Shiva, and then like Shiva's lover, who was a dragon, basically says, what the fuck, no you're not, you're just a primal masquerading as her, like, get the fuck out of my sight. Which basically fucks up Ysayle's whole worldview, but that's not in relation to our character. But like, Estinian and Ysayle's constant back and forth about how the Dragon Song War should be handled would give Vail, like, pause to some extent. It would give him like the time to be, hey, maybe revenge, I shouldn't be doing this out of revenge type of deal. He should go down because he did something abhorrent and basically like turned on the people who like gave him that power in the first place, which kind of goes back to your whole point, Vanguard, of like being a monster and a traitorous monster and stuff like that. Showing empathy for the dragons also resonates with Vail. Because you have like two completely opposing points of view that you can learn from. So that's why I'd say, yeah. Also, the lingering problem is there's still anger under there. So it's, yeah, it's still somewhat revenge, but it's tempered. It's tempered to the extent of you need to go down. Whether that's you being put behind bars or that's you going down by my blade, you're going down for what you did. Like, that's kind of how I see it. You're gonna have decide to spare him and let the people decide what happens to him. Yeah, that's actually the final part of revenge should be you sparing him and taking him to the people he harmed. Making the people choose rather than making your own vengeance satisfaction. We'll get to that eventually because we are following the story, so it doesn't turn out all that way. Right, what else have we got? So yeah, we kind of have this whole journey with Ysayle and Estinian. And then we do eventually go and slay Nidhogg, but it becomes a whole thing later. Oh yeah, we help free, oh yeah, there's a whole, yeah, because like, yeah, okay. Yeah, there's a whole dragon war, excuse me. There's the whole Dragon Song War stuff. Into the blue. Oh, there's so much stuff. Okay. Yeah, so it's like more kind of like menial stuff. Tataru. Oh, yeah. Yes, this would be a major one. Because when do we... I don't know when we find... I don't know when... I think, is Y'shtola the first one we save of the Scions? Yeah, that's a big moment for Vail. Hang on. I want to make sure this is the right cutscene. I don't want to get the wrong one. Before I skip over, we watch this together. Okay, hang on. Is it the one beforehand? Lost in the live stream. I think it's the second cutscene. Hang on. Character seems to be consciously on a tightrope between your moral compass and revenge, which is a tightrope all too fine to stand on forever. Revenge is fine between reckless destruction and becoming at peace. Yeah. Okay. Right. Yeah. This is the cutscene. Because we had to go basically... It's like... I think Kani Senna comes to us and it's like, hey, we know where Y'shtola is. She's in the live stream itself. And we're just like, oh shit, how do we pull her out? And it's like, it's not that simple. We need a relative. And then, like, because the closest relative will help, basically, pull her into reality type of deal. So yes, hang on. Let me swap over here, and we can watch this together. My character would all know it well, but because character becomes from a place of grudges where common murders happen daily and peace is illusioned at best. Right. Right, next cutscene. Yeah, this would be a big one, because this would also kind of lead into... If I'm not mistaken, and I didn't completely blindside, we do start saving Scions here. I think Y'shtola is the first, but I could be wrong. Is this a voice cutscene? I imagine it is. Be very surprised if it's not. Yeah, so we have Y'shtola's sister, ourselves, Tataru, and Alphinaud.
Let us begin.
Okay, it is voiced. Oh, I'm picking good ones. It's always better to be a distance and lose yourself to the fire, yeah.
Oh, Arun, if you would.
Then we have to drag Y'shtola out of the live stream.
Hearken to me, O great ones.
Just like actually a couple in a row.
To the life stream, a drifting soul to find.
Yep. We'll probably end up watching the 2 cutscenes after this as well, because it directly follows up on this one.
Please, Y'shtola. Please come back to us.
Yeah, this would be like a big turning point for Vail in the sense of like, it's the first Scion they have found, and we're able to like get back.
Now.
Like I said, I could be wrong. I don't know if we found Thancred before this, but I think Y'shtola was the first. The cutscenes after this might actually explain it a bit better. Yep. That's one naked cat. You don't take your clothes into the live stream. Well, yeah, that's her. Yep. Cover her up and just leave her there. Damn, full on burrito. Clever camera angle, I see. Yep. Try and hide it. But she's alive, hopefully, I think. Yeah, it's like, stay back. We just pulled her out of basically...
A room has been readied at the roost. Pray, bear her thither at once.
Yeah. Get her there as soon as possible. My character, after seeing this, be kind of pissed because it just doesn't feel right for someone to die and then come back. She didn't really die, though. That's the thing. She didn't die because if she died, we wouldn't be able to get her physical body back. Because once you die, that's it. Your body dissipates. You are one with the world. You are one in the ethereal sea now.
All that remains is to pray, my friend.
Her body, it wasn't just we suddenly conjured up her body at this point. Like, her body was physically trapped in the live stream. He wouldn't feel a grudge or anything. He would just find it disgusting and deplorable. He wouldn't be quiet about it. From his perspective, he would have. Doesn't matter about the technicalities. My character is very sanctified about life and death being two separate things. You know what's funny about you saying that is that these guys are white mages. So they're literally like the ones that are here to preserve nature and like defend it and stuff. And with the healing magics and stuff. So you saying that is actually kind of funny in this context. Of like knowing who these people are. Yeah, so like that's like the one cutscene, and then I think this one, because I think she's awake by this point. That's why we're watching. I think it's only this one. I don't know what the second one is after this, or the third one is after this. But these two are definitely important because she's awake, she's alive. However, she is blind.
I'm so glad
Because she was exposed to so much ether, she basically became blind. She cannot see. She can see in the sense that she can see people's living ether. So that's why she's able to immediately see Tataru coming in the door and see the three of us coming in the door without actually seeing us.
Tataru.
What's up?
You are safe. Thank the 12.
Yeah, she sees us and is like, oh god, thank god. Thank god you're both safe. Yeah, then again, we also still don't know where Minfilia is because it was meant to be us and Minfilia that escaped, but then Minfilia stayed behind as well. Yeah, Spray doesn't think of nature as like, thinks of nature's life and death. Nothing else becomes there. Life, there must be death. Yeah. Hello.
Something has changed about you, Alphino. Or mayhap the change is with me. I seem to sense the ether around me more keenly than before.
I am pleased to see you well again. Do you feel strong enough to talk?
Yeah. Well, I get
Worry
the...
not. I am well enough.
Well, I get the Reaper class. That's how I'm going to play it, by killing creatures, leaving them behind to one day foster new life. The thing is, though, like, the Reaper class has, like, a whole thing that's basically, like, you're pulling Void Scent from the 13th and basically using them as, like, your thing. I don't know. I have to, like, look more into the Reaper class, but it's, like, that whole, like, it's kind of a bit of a contradiction with the Reaper class. with the way your character views things. From what I remember, my character would be the ironically opposite of white mage. The same goal: leave new bodies, life, a different philosophy. You could say, yeah, if I could fucking say the word correctly. That's funny. Like that's actually like Ishola's sister. She shows up, doesn't say a thing, then leaves, and then we don't see her again.
What befell you after you fled the feast? We were told that there had been a tunnel collapse.
Yeah, the whole life has been a constant contradiction in his eyes, and his eyes what's one more. And fair enough.
That was my doing. I brought the tunnel down that you and Minfidia might escape. At the last moment, I invoked a teleportation magic, in hopes of spiriting Thancred away at least. Needless to say, it did not go quite as planned, and I found myself adrift in the life stream.
Yes, so that is why we have not made Thancred yet, but we were able to find Y'shtola. She teleported herself into the ethereal sea. How the fuck?
The others? Where are they? Did they not escape?
They remain unaccounted for. You were the only one we have been able to find.
Okay, we did not find Thancred yet then. So yes, she was the first lion she found. Or we found.
It was the Crystal Braves who pursued you that day. My hubris that led to our undoing.
No apologies are necessary, Alpha No. You are not to blame for what occurred. Know that were our comrades here, they would commend you for keeping the light of hope alive.
His whole life's a walking set of contradictions. By becoming the Reaper in the first place, he has to embody two contradictory philosophies, sowing chaos and bringing light, combining them into nothing but reaping shadows. Shadow in his eyes contradicts between light and dark because it's both and neither.
Don't worry. The others are alive and well, I'm sure of it. We just need to find them.
Indeed, Tataru. Let us find our friends and rebuild the Scion.
Yeah, this is nuts as well, because like since I'm still thinking about a specific scene that we'll get to, it's like Vail's finally, like, after the whole like Crystal Braves and Nanamo and everything that happened in Ul'dah, we're finally like starting to go up and up and up again. Finally starting to go up and up and up again. And we're eventually gonna get absolutely tossed back on our knees. So you can absolutely understand the sheer amount of complete callousness that my character has openly embodied the concept of contradiction.
Ha! There is the Alpha No I remember. And I feel much the better for his return. 'Tis time I arose.
That reminds me. I have a change of clothes for you. I don't like to boast, but I made them myself. I learned how to weave while we were in Ishgard, you see.
You ever heard the giant story about the Chinese word for contradiction? I have not. Yeah, we gotta leave. And then like, I don't think we need to watch this one. I can skim through it though. A merchant has a spear, shield can stop any spear, the spear can pierce any shield. Oh yeah, new outfit for Y'shtola. And then someone asked what would happen if they put that spear against that shield. He said nothing. It literally originated the Chinese word for contradiction, which translates to spear shield. Ah, that's kind of cool.
Tataru has apprised me of all that took place in the aftermath of the assassination plot.
The whole thing.
It would seem I have been away for some while.
Yeah, it's been a bit, yeah.
Yes, much and more happened during your absence. At present, we seek to follow the Archbishop to Azisla.
Wait, follow him? Hang on, no way did I skip it.
And you want for some manner of etheric ram to pierce the floating isle's protective barrier.
Oh shit, we totally did skip it. Okay, hang on, we gotta go back. So before we even find Y'shtola, we have another fucking massive crash. Hang on. Alright, we'll go back.
We do. Might you be able to...
I didn't realize this was before or after Azisla. Right, I gotta go back. We missed a massive fucking thing that is basically another catalyst for the character.
A means to prise open a hole in an Allagan barrier. And one
Right,
large
I gotta go
enough
back.
airship.
Which is why my character's name would be the word spear and shield in Latin.
Nay.
My character's
I lack
name is
knowledge
literally
to
the word
devise
spear and
such a
shield in
weapon.
Latin combined. Nice.
But I know of one who could.
Actually, it's spear in Greek and shield in Latin as one word. Ah.
A leading figure in the field of etheric research, and one of the finest scholars ever to grace Sharlayan. Matoya, my former master.
Yeah, so this is more of a exposition and everything. Yeah, we didn't really need this one. We missed a cutscene though. But before I do that, I'm still gonna put that in. I'll just skip here and put that one in. Finding Ishtola. I'll put ... because yeah, we're watching that cutscene now. If I can find it. Where is it? Difference of opinion. Azisla, Knight's Calling, Sins of Antiquity. Okay, I think it's this one. Oh wait, it might be in related to... Hang on. Dewey. Reborn. Heaven's Ward. The Vault! The Vault. I think it's the last cutscene. Oh, this is the actual cutscenes themselves. Oh. No, it'll be after this. Okay, skip. This ain't it. By the way, did you already make a deck for the event? I wasn't even aware there was an event happening, not gonna lie. Right, hang on. I gotta find... Surely the cutscene's here. I imagine it'd be... Where is it again? I think it'd be... No, it'd be before that. I feel like it would be this one. A Knight's Calling. Hang on. I want to get this cutscene right. Nope. That is the one after the... Right, so A Knight's Calling is the one. It's the first one. Alright, who's ready to experience more trauma, guys?
How can this be?
Oh, I can't believe I have to watch this fucking cutscene again, but I have to. Because it's literally pivotal into
Hold back!
how, like, Vail fights from this point on. History faction with specific attribute combinations. Blue Eyes Primal is legal for the Earthlight faction. Ooh, might try to do that then. Don't want to look it up because it'd take the chat off my phone. Could you do that for me, please, in another window? I'll do that now in a sec. Right now, I kind of want to just focus on this right now. Let's experience more trauma. I have to relive this shit for, like, the nth time at this point.
Father, please!
For a mercy, we were not too late.
Why must you do this, Father?
Yeah, because the whole...
Nidhogg is fallen. There is no need for further deception. Now is the time to renounce the lies which led us down this path. To start anew.
Yeah, I don't know if we know by this point, but the Asians are involved in this as well because they're basically, like, whispering in Thorin's ear to keep doing this fuck shit.
And tear down the very pillars of our society, our history, our values, everything we have built over 1,000 years? A fool to the last.
Here we go. Ah, fuck's sake. I say this is a turning point for Vail. This is a fucking breaking point. And I'll explain why in a bit. Fuck, dude. Just straight up, like... And think, like, he's a paladin. Like Vail is by this time.
Go. Asisla awaits.
Lord Orchefort!
Fuck me, dude.
No good. The wound is too deep. It refuses to mend.
This is basically a canon event for everyone that's like following the story and making their characters kind of surround the story a bit. This is one of those things where Vail, once again, his sense of justice would definitely come into, because like they basically Thoradin basically captured his own son to try and like stop him from like telling the truth about their people and the dragons and in the way it really went down. And then in that like sense of, with that sense of justice, like something like this happens. Like
You are unharmed? Forgive me. I could not bear the thought of...
Fuck, dude.
Oh, do not look at me so. A smile better suits a hero.
That line alone would stop Vail from going full on fuck vengeance. I'm tearing the whole thing down. That sentence alone would have stopped him from going on that path. Hands down. Hands down. That's like fucking canon event. Which is kind of funny because in Dragon Song Reprise we actually get like, what if we saved Harchefont? And it turns out shit goes so much wrong, or so much worse, than if he were to die. So yes, in Final Fantasy lore, that is practically a canon event. That has to happen in order for everything else to be safe, and all that jazz. But yeah, no, that's a massive one. Like basically, let me go back to my let me go back to the doc. The reason that's such a big moment for Vail is because if you think about it, he's a paladin. He's meant to be the shield. He's meant to be the one that protects people. He thought he was getting stronger. He felt like he was getting stronger, and it still wasn't enough. What's the point of me having the shield if I can't defend the people I love? What's the point of me having the shield if I can't defend the people I care about? Like, that's why that's such a massive moment for Vail. Because that's when he stops becoming a paladin. He's no longer a paladin from that point on. The shield and sword are gone. And that's when he eventually learns to... That's when he learns the way of the Gunbreaker then instead. So while it's not a direct... I don't have an exact link as to why he'd pick Gunbreaker. But that would cause him to drop the shield. And pick up basically just a fucking bigger blade, to be honest. So, like, while it's a moment... Like, he's still... Because, like, Gunbreaker is still a tank. So he still has... So that, like, plays more into the fact of... Hey... While I'm more offensive-based now, that urge and will and drive to protect is still there. In... Like, represented in gameplay by Vail still being a tank-class character. So that's why I love that specific moment so much, because I thought of that the moment I played through it for the first time. I was like, okay, yeah, that's definitely the catalyst as to why or how he becomes a Gunbreaker. And then why he drops the shield. Like, he'd be so, like, he'd be fucked over that, like. But that's also why it makes such a compelling reason for him to, like, drop the shield and pick up something else. And, like, move forward. Like that moment, his death and that last line, a smile better suits a hero, literally keeps Vail in check and to not go scorched earth on the Heaven's Ward. Like, that's a canon event. Like, I can't stress that enough, like. That you could have easily learned the way of the warrior or berserker if you would head on to that anger rather than letting go. It would have made more sense to a warrior to at least be a little bit rather than a gun. Or is it called berserker? Oh yeah, warrior where it's the big axe class. It's also kind of partially due to the fact that if you want me to break the immersion here real quick, basically I wanted to pick Gunbreaker up from the very beginning. But you can only get Gunbreaker from level 60. And by the time I had finished this dungeon, I had reached level 60. So I was able to immediately pick Gunbreaker up. So then I was able to weave that into the story in a nice harmony of gameplay and storytelling for myself, or for Vail. That's why I did it the way I did it. And I didn't go like, I didn't go Dark Knight, for instance. Like, that could have easily been a catalyst for a Dark Knight story as well. Going the complete opposite of Paladin. Where you're like going, but it's kind of like more vengeance-based, but vengeance on other people's behalf in order to defend them type of deal. Like, Gunbreaker felt like Vail was still staying close to his values while not going entirely off the rails. Like, Gunbreaker aside, Gunbreaker being like a Garlemald kind of specialty aside and all that jazz, it's more of, like I said, he's more offensive in his way of defending, if that makes sense. Like, this is where he's like the first to draw the blade if necessary. Like, if you show any signs of like aggression or any sign of like just any sign of like possibly putting anyone he cares about and himself in danger, he will strike first. Even if it's not a strike to kill, he's going to at least strike first. Let me hang on, I gotta bring up Twitch again. Yeah, you chose Gunbreaker, but it feels like Gunbreakers are more destructive than Warrior because the anger still lies within the surface. Warrior harnesses it and channels it into taking damage for someone else. You're just saying even more offensively based, your projector. You take the hit and then deal it right back in kind. Yeah. I chose my class based on thematic things. He's a walking contradiction. He prefers to kill something now rather than take damage. He's equal parts selfish and selfless. He only cares about two things, surviving and murder. He's not there to protect. He seeks to destroy. Yeah. I guess, like, that's the thing. Is like I said, Harshifon's final words are basically what keep him on a more righteous path instead of giving into it. So, like, yeah, while Warrior is like, oh, you're channeling your anger and stuff like that. Like, the Gunbreaker lore is kind of more noble in a sense. So we're still kind of keeping that paladin in him, while also being more offensive in terms of doing the tank job. So like that's kind of like where my mind was going when I made the choice to pick up Gunbreaker, but also instead of just having him be a Gunbreaker the entire time, have him be the paladin in canon first, then canonically swap and learn a different trade, because clearly the shield's not working. Clearly the shield is not working. So it makes sense that he'd like learn a different fighting style. He doesn't seek to destroy, he's actually built to destroy. My character's final turning point is toward the part of the game where you're in, someone starts destroying, so initiate and realizes destruction begets destruction, so we must absolute destruction. That's a lot of destruction in one sentence. But yeah, so like arch font final words resonate with Vail and keep him on the righteous path. Yeah, because thankfully as well, in terms of canon, the paladin that Vail becomes isn't beholden to any organization. So that's why he was able to freely stop being a paladin, but then pick up Gunbreaker. So he's not like beholden to an organization or something, because he's built to destroy, realized at this point, but he's also on other people trying to destroy things. His ability fully decides to embody destruction, essentially going full slaughter mode. Came by destruction so much that he's even his power-based self-destruction, which would explain his more powerful Reaper form, literally destroying his body to cause more destruction. Yeah. Becoming the Void Scent itself. But yeah. So like, Horchafon's final words resonate with Keeper on the Righteous Path. Gives up on being a paladin and picks up the way of the Gunbreaker instead. Like, yeah, that's also, that could also even be a reason why, like, that could also be a reason why I haven't leveled Paladin up since, if you even want to go that much deeper into it. Because Vail, in that one instance where he failed to protect someone, that was like the final straw. It's like, no, I'm never picking up a shield again. I'm never picking up a shield again. I'll still fight in people's defense, don't get me wrong, but you will never see me wield a shield again. It didn't work. It never worked. Finding Y'shtola. Finally, things are looking up. I think, see, part of me wants me to think, like, part of me wants to think that in a side scene, not in the game, Vail would confide in Y'shtola. Fides in Y'shtola off green. Maybe it's not like a love confession or anything like that, but because she becomes aware of everything that's happened since the assassination attempt on Nanamo, I feel like Vail and Y'shtola would have a lot to talk about. Maybe Y'shtola is the character that gives him the idea of, hey, have you ever heard of the Gunbreakers before? And I also like it as a contrast to how he used to live in the village as well. I do like that as a bit of contrast, where they're more like, you know, like, they're not nomadic, but they're more like, I guess, a traditional, or no, I guess nomadic to an extent, just not on the traveling aspect of like nomad life and stuff. Cause like it's more tech based than it would be like a bow and arrow or a spear. Like it's like a mixture of magic and technology, which kind of keeps the theme going from this point on, which I like. Can find something off stream. She gives, I'll say that, I'll put that in. She gives him the idea of the Gunbreaker. I like that. I like that as a little like character moment between the two of them. Okay. Walking contradiction had become true destruction, at the same time true preservation never falls from rise and move forward. That becomes contradiction to destruction. Also, my character would have a second main class in the form of the healer class, the scholar. Yeah, for me, it's Viper, but I haven't really made that as like a canon thing for him yet. If I do decide to. Like, at the moment, I'm more focused on he is a gunbreaker and that is his canon class type of deal. I haven't decided. In game, Viper is definitely my secondary main, you know? But at the moment, Gunbreaker is currently the only thing I'm like thinking of. And even then, Viper won't come up until like maybe Shadowbringers. And that's a big maybe. I think for the sake of simplicity, I'm going to keep him as a Gunbreaker from here point on though. At least in this doc. Our character's a walking contradiction. He destroys, we also restores, we reaps in the land. So he sees contradiction, but he's also not. Yeah. Alright. Right, so yeah, we got this point. So yeah, Vail confides in Ishola off screen. She gives him the idea of the Gunbreaker. And also, just for the sake of cutscenes going forward, I'm gonna put my Gunbreaker glam on. Because, what time is it now? Yeah, what I might do is I kind of want to get as far as the Dragon Song War for post ARR. And then have that kind of be where we finish it for today. Damn, we only went through like 2 expansions, or like the base game and an expansion. We've barely scratched the surface with this. We'll be here for fucking hours. What I might do is on my own time, I might tweak some of these, and I might like, if there's a highlight option there is a highlight option. Okay, I'll like highlight stuff that I've added that was new. Because I'm liking what we have so far. Okay. Right. So what's next? Let me skim through here. Heaven's Ward. Yeah, oh, there's Dragon Song as like a main thing. So, oh, that's awesome. Okay. Post Dragon Song. No. So like Heaven's Ward. His final form would be essentially if got a relationship with himself. Same way Cloak and Dagger do this contradiction at its full power, it essentially split into different people. The ultra powerful Reaper and the ultra powerful Scholar in the same body, but arguably not the same mind. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Okay, Heaven's Ward. I gotta find out where I was now, because I actually went much further on than I thought. Yeah, the Knight's Calling is basically, it's like basically near the end of the game. Or near the end of, yeah. Okay, at this point on, it's just kind of like, at this point on, it's more building towards the final fight. So, once again, the whole justice thing, he would be present for the fight against Thordan. Whether he fights him alone, I don't know. I don't know how that works in terms of canon and trials and stuff like that. Vail is present for the fight against Thordan, wielding his new Gunbreaker abilities and triumphs. There's also Asian involvement here. There's also Asian involvement here as well. But that is very minimal when I'm mainly just thinking about Thordan. Because Thordan, I think, is just dead at this point. Meaning he must be much more aggressive and hateful as Reaper, much more passive and happy and Scholar to embody contradiction fully. The thing is, would essentially split his mind in half to gain enough power to split the world in half. Okay, that was hilarious. Or bombardment. Alright. Okay, I think that covers most of Heaven's Ward. Like I said, the big one was Hartrefont's death. That was the one I definitely wanted to give the most. That's the one I wanted to give the most reverence because it's such a breaking point for Vail. Because it's basically the saying of breaking him down to building him back up again. So you broke him down as a paladin, but he's gonna come back far stronger as a Gunbreaker. So I'm only gonna do a couple of things. I mean, like, I don't even think I need to do much. Like, he'll be present for the dragons. Yeah, so present for the entire Dragon Song War conflict, and bases against Nidhogg. Because what happens is Nidhogg, basically Estinian takes down Nidhogg, but Nidhogg at the end of Heaven's Ward basically possesses Estinian and goes off and does this whole Dragon Song War stuff. So basically like that's unchanged, because it's not like a primal situation where it's like, oh, he'll be tempered or something like that. No, this is a big fight for Vail, in that as outside of the Asians and Thordan, Nidhogg is probably the biggest threat to not only Ishgard, but if Ishgard were to fall, basically the entire like world in general. Like, because there's no way Nidhogg would stop after that. Seeing the class description, it's still a tank using barriers. Yeah, pretty much. They still have like the typical like tank stuff that you see in other classes, but the joke is always that Gunbreaker is 3 DPS in a trench coat, which is why I was like, oh, I know that's a meme, but I can use that in my narrative to have him be a more offensive tank, even though he still has a lot of the defensive units and stuff like that. So that's kind of where I was coming from. Okay, we got one more cutscene to watch, and then I'll call it there. Yeah, we haven't even scratched the surface. We have to get to Stormblood. I have to do some research for Shadowbringers, because that gets fucking messy in terms of like the Warrior of Light plot armor and what the Warrior of Light can do in the story. Like, we're getting to heavy levels of stuff. Winning over the worm, end of the song, Heroes of the Hour. I think it's the only one I want to get is the only one I want to look at is the, hang on, where's the yeah, dun 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 dun. I think it's winning over the worm. Cutscene. I don't know if it's cutscene 1. There's like one where we show up all badass. Did you read your chats? I did read them out. Seeing the I did read them out. I was reading them as I went along. I don't think that's the right cutscene. Hang on. I think it's the second one. I don't like, what's that? Reflect quest progression. Okay. I think it's because like some of them have the arrow have like different vocal choices. Oh, never mind. I don't think it's this one. I think it's the one after that. So it'll be end of the song. I think, gee, yeah, there's a lot of them. I'm looking for the one where we show up as the character. Yeah, but you remember to translate. Oh, I'll do that after, real quick. Nope, never mind. I'm trying to find it because it's a really, oh god, it's such a good moment. I think this is it. Let me go on to the second. Let me go on to the third one. Let me go on to the third one. I think it is that second one though. I think it is this one. Abandon this war shade. Yeah, he doesn't even call him like his brother because Nidhogg basically died. I probably should be speaking over this, to be honest, because they're just speaking in dragon language. Never shall our grief be assuaged, nor our loss forgotten, but reconciliation may halt the spread of this plague of enmity. Forsake thy vengeance and be at peace. Yeah, because Nidhogg basically used Estinian's vengeance against him to possess him. What soft-headed ramblings are these? Thy dalliance with that vile maid has robbed thee of thy wits. Mayhap her cloying perfume had made thee forget the stench of our blood sisters' lifeblood. Or brood sisters, excuse me. Thou dost speak of my beloved. The flames of rage yet might be kindled. I fear thy heart's fire had long since gone out. But waste not thy fury on words, brother. Thou shalt Have need of it for the battle. Yeah, I think this is it. Okay. I think this is it. It's mostly just a fight between these two. Oh, it's gotta skip. God damn it, it wasn't even the cut. God damn it. God dang it. I'm still trying to find this final cutscene. Yeah, this is like basically the fight between the two dragons. I'll know it because I'll hear the lyrics. Come on. This whole fight is nuts, though. This whole thing, like, yeah, full on fight. Full on dragon fight. Oh. Hide the mouse. Power up. And we're still there just standing on the bridge. Yeah. My character would honestly shit their pants right now, to be honest. Yeah, no, I think my character would definitely be here for this fight. Mainly because of one thing. He'd be there to accompany and try and like, convince Hraesvelgr, but there'd be one specific reason why he's able to stand up to Nidhogg, and it is related to the story. God damn, there's so many cutscenes. There's so many cutscenes. And I have to, like... we have to watch them all just to find the right moment. Now art weak, Hraesvelgr, a slithering worm who fawned on vermin, who should rightly be his prey. For 1,000 years I have fought without cease, and thou didst think to prevail against me. I'm probably going to skip through. Glory is not in victory's shade, the battle is not yet won. My power and my hope. Yep, this is it, I think. I have entrusted to another. Yep, his eye's gone. Thine eye, what hast thou done? This is why. This is why Vail would be able to stand up to Nidhogg. Do the lyrics play? Give me the fucking lyrics, dog. This is literally like the pinnacle of how Vail feels as well, like for most part. Let me hear lyrics. Oh, this moment's so good. The culmination of protecting everyone he cares about. He wouldn't prove anything if he ran away. he wouldn't prove anything if he didn't stand and fight. Even if he loses, even if he dies, here and now, Vail knows what has to be done. Because it's not a matter of like... It's a matter of life and death. It is a matter of life and death. If he doesn't, who will? With the dragon's power at his side, he can absolutely take him out. Yeah. That's so good because basically you get like we're kind of jumping from cutscene to cutscene, but the fact that you just fly in on Hraesvelgr and then you watch the two fight, and then Hraesvelgr has like shown that humans and dragons can coexist by just giving Vail his power to fight Nidhogg down. And it's fucking cinema. It's cinema, dude. Yeah, but that's another big thing for Vail, is that like, while he doesn't have that power from that point on, I don't think. Like, after he takes down Nidhogg, I don't think he has, like, that power. But it's at least enough to keep Vail moving forward. It's a push in the right direction. So that's why I like that moment so much. So, right, let me swap. Let's swap over to... Yeah, so, like, that's why I think present for the entire Dragonsong War conflict and faces against Nidhogg. Then we save Estinian, who Nidhogg was possessing. I forgot to put music back on. Whoopsie daisies. But we're going to be calling it here soon anyway. But yeah, like, I think that's good. Like, not much in terms of, like, post Heavensward. I have to watch the rest of the cutscenes, but so we can probably tweak this a lot more. My character at this point would no longer shit their pants. It would be basically like a walking war machine, essentially, to terminate or walking in on a sex target, no matter who the target is. A silent, slow, hate-filled termination without an ounce of rage. Destruction via destruction. For me, my kids would basically reject it before he gets it. Yeah. For me, like, that's like, whether it was purposeful or not, like, that was the push Vail needed, and thanks to Hraesvelgr, like, it was the push that would give, like, Vail the motivation to, like, save the rest of the... I don't think we found all the rest of the Scions yet. I know by the time the Dragonsong War, we have come into contact with Thancred, which is nice because he was the first Scion we ever met. So, like, that's a nice reunion there. By the way, how long does it take to unlock Red Mage? Red Mage, you basically need to beat all of A Realm Reborn's story. So you need to get to level 50 with any class. And then you can unlock Red Mage from there. For my characters, they don't need hope or fear. They just need to prove that in destruction, there's only one tyrant. I won't even say it's hope. I won't even say it's hope for Vail. It's that push. It's the push to know he can get stronger, but he doesn't have to do it alone, type of deal. I know that's very cliche, but what was the time limit for the FTP trial again? I actually don't know what that is. But yeah, so I feel like that's like why Vail would like value that specific gesture, because not only is it like a big deal for the Ishgardians, where it's like, oh yes, humans and dragons can coexist, because of there was like a whole fiasco earlier in the story where basically we got fucking like almost poisoned and stuff like that as well before that cutscene, and it went, hold on, limit for the level for I think it's level 70. I don't know, you might need this. The thing is though, I don't know if you get the classes for free as well. I'd look that up first, because Red Mage, while you basically can get it at level 50, which is at the end of the A Realm Reborn main story quest, it is a Stormblood job. It's a deal. It's one of the jobs that you get via the expansion. But you're able to get up to Stormblood and level 70 with the free trial. So you might be okay. I'm just not sure how that works. There is no time limit for the free trial as well. So yeah, there's no restriction on playtime. You're locked out of a couple of systems. That's why I'm worried about I don't know if you'd be locked out of the jobs, or if you need to actively pay for the game and stuff like that as well. Your story is based on finding peace minus finding war. That's why I said your current thing would be turning point for my character, because it would be a war, hopefully everlasting. Yeah. But yeah, I think it's I'm gonna skim through the rest of because Dragon Song's its own thing. That's how big the Dragon Song War is. Promises kept. Yeah, we have a nice oh yeah, we get an introduction to. We meet back up with Alize. Yeah, we basically have a whole. Oh wait, is post? Oh. Yes, I forgot. We meet up with Ilbert again. We do. However. Oh yeah, right. Yeah. Papalimo, Ida, Tancred, Yugiri. Yes, we have basically most of the Scions are back. Minfilia is helping the first do their whole thing. You know what? This is a lot. This is a lot on its own. So I think we'll save it for another stream, because we will be here for another fucking hour just going post Dragon War stuff or Dragon Song War stuff. That is a lot of content to get through. Would be annoying to have to catch up later if you can't level stuff on the side. Don't know if it's worth spending time on it. Yeah, that's fair. That's the thing. MMOs are a big commitment. So that's why while the meme is, oh yeah, you get a expansion with free playtime and stuff like that, I don't actively encourage it, because even I myself struggle to kind of keep the time to play specific games and stuff like that as well. It's if you have the time, then yeah, I'd definitely recommend this game. But if you don't, I can completely understand. I realized the character would be similar to Cloak and Dagger, but it'd be more Jekyll and Hyde in the fact that one personality but embodies the more violent parts. Or a Moon Knight. Moon Knight's very similar in that sense. Yeah, I think that's actually pretty good. I think we'll call it there. So, we got a bit more of post Heaven's Word to do. Or post Dragon Song to do. But right now, that's a lot of information, and I want to get some food and stuff. So, I'm going to call it there. The subscription base later is definitely a reason not to play, since it would just be multiple games I would play. Yeah, exactly. I get it. Oh, wrong click. But yeah, I think that's good. So, yeah, we'll call it there. I think that's a good spot. We honestly, we basically have, a lot of the major points out. I need to do research on Shadowbringers, though. I need to see how do people that are taking the story into account work around Shadowbringers to Endwalker, because it's all world travel and stuff like that. Dawn Trail is one of the easier ones to do. Dawn Trail is one of the easier ones to kind of figure out, especially because it's fresh in our minds as well. But with Shadowbringers and Endwalker basically making us universe level heroes, I want to know how people work their OCs around it. That's why I'd love to talk with I feel the main inspiration for the stream would have been Shenpai, because of how much she puts care and love into her character. I'm that's the whole inspiration for doing this stream in the first place, is hearing them talk about their character and what they put into it, and even their specific moments and stuff like that. That's why it's also a case of I didn't put down everything that Vail wasn't present for outside of the outside of the primal fights. So it's interesting. Zombie characters be Reaper class, would be a violent class. Should these Reapers become zero seeds the death, reap the life? You also forgot about the spirit shield thing. Translate. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that now. I won't put it up, but I'll do it now. What's latter spirit into right? So, English Latin. So, shield. I'm pretty sure.
Shield.
Oh, whoops.
Scutum.
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 Scutum. You heard that? That's shield in Latin, and then Greece, Greece, spear in Greece, spear.
Δόρη.
Dory.
Δόρη. 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 Δόρη.
I hope that's right. I mean, like, Google Translate could be a bit fucky with it anyway. So, like, I hope that's right anyway, but yeah. Alright, let me save this so I don't end up losing the file. Plain text document. As long as I can edit it, that's the only thing that really matters to me. I gotta find a place for this. You know what? I'll actually put it in my... I'll put it in my screenshot folder for my character. I'll try and combine these two and see what it sounds like. Yeah, for me, it was like, picking Vail was like, I wanted a kind of more gender neutral name. So if I like Fantasia'd into a different character, or if I went female Viera instead, eventually, it worked, or any character. And then, character lore folder. And then like, I guess this, I think, is like bunny or rabbit in Latin. Hang on. English to Latin. Or like a version of it. Hang on. Rabbit. No, lepus. Never mind. Rabbit, bunny. Where does it guess this come from? Oh, I have no clue then. I can't remember where that name came from. It could have came from a fucking generator from all I know. I did not think of the character name outside of Vail. Because Final Fantasy XIV requires you to have a forename and surname. It would have just been Vail. But hey, at least it exists. Right, character text. Vail. Character. Lore. And then real quick. We're about to save this document in a text-only format, which will remove all formatting. Are you about... No! God, no. I just want to fucking... Yeah, what's this one? God. Vail. Vail. Character. Lore. Lore. Right, I just need to be able to see if I can open it up. That's the important thing. As long as I can open the... As long as I can open it and edit it again, we're fine. Right, you know what I'll do actually? I'm gonna like copy all of it just in case it fucks up and messes it. Okay, no, we're good. Right, we can edit it again. Okay, we're good. Alright, we're sorted. It should have been Greek. My surname would have been Hellas Roma. I got your surname would have been Hellas Roma. Alright. Either way, right. It's saved. That's fine. We're good to go. We're gonna call it there because I want to get some food. No, either way, I might do this again next week. To be honest, this was fun. Like I said, I might end up making some slight tweaks off stream. That's a big might. I might end up playing Final Fantasy XIV. I'm actually gonna knock the game off here as well, since I'm kind of done now. There we go. So we only like covered like 2 stories though, which is kind of nutty. But like, I feel like Vail had a decent character arc, at least as far as the Dragon Song War, and then it'll be like kind of an epilogue when we get to post Dragon Song War, when we come face to face with Ilbert again, and all of that fun stuff. So I think we're gonna call it there. So once again, this is gonna be an interesting VOD. I'm curious to see if anyone like if anyone else is like more interested in this type of thing, because I love this type of thing. I love character writing. I've been wanting to write out lore and like a story for Vail for a long time now, but yeah, I'm finally glad that I'm able to do it, and on stream, so it's something new outside of the typical game streams that I do. So I want to call it there. Thank you for everyone that tuned in. Thank you for everyone's input and stuff like that. I really appreciate that. I love the feedback. I like having that back and forth. That's the one thing I really appreciated, because it's the one thing I wanted to kind of get out of this as well. So with all that said and done, I hope you all have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, and good night. Your Cyber Hacker Nova signing off, and I will see you guys next time, where we're gonna play some we're going back to Yu-Gi-Oh! On Friday, so have a good rest. Sadly couldn't add much. No problem, man. Honestly, just having you here is great. Listening to me rambling is something I will always appreciate from you guys. So with all that said, peace out.